Good day, YouTube. So today we're going to start the motor teardown process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a time lapse with a little bit of breaks in between, showing you some things I find, the condition of some of the components, as well as the overall inspection at the end. Hope you enjoy. Alright, one thing you want to do when you're tearing the water pump and the side covers down, you have these little dowel pins. You don't want to lose those, so we'll keep these lined up and in place. This inner clutch cover will have one as well, as well as the case, and you see some here. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm going to show you something I just found taking this inner case off. So, looks like had a little impact damage and someone JB welded it. So it looks like they must hit a rock or a root or something and popped a hole in the case, and they literally JB welded it. You can see they did a fine job. Wow. Well, it held, I guess. So we'll be replacing this inner case, that is for sure. What we're going to do is take the clutch hub off, get all these gears off. Kickstarter gear, there's an idler gear behind there. I'll show you after I get this hub off and inspect the basket and everything, and then we'll get the shaft gears off. I'm going to need to pull this bearing. Actually, I'm going to pull all the bearings, but this bearing right here is for your power valve. So let's get to pulling. So let me show you something I just found. I got the clutch off. Clutch basket's in a little rough shape. Clutch plates didn't look good, or didn't look too bad. The inner clutch hub looked good. The pressure plate looked fine. So just the basket's pretty rough. So let's look at the basket. Like I said, the clutch plates are fine. If you can see where the clutch plates were grooving inside here, creating a lot of grooves. How that happens is, you know, the clutches get hot, they expand and contract, and this is just a cheap aluminum. So what's going on is it was probably causing a little bit of binding. So what we can do is, you have one of two things: either put a new clutch basket on here, or you can take a file and clean these up. But you know, it's still, the integrity of this is already compromised, and you know, it'll work fine if you did that, but it won't be to the feel you'd want, and it just lacks the integrity anymore. It's probably seen a lot of heat cycles. So, and like, I can feel the grooving through my gloves. So that is not, you know, that's definitely seen better days. So we'll probably end up getting a new basket for that, and see where we can go. Overall, everything looks good in here. Haven't really dove in too much into it. We're gonna go ahead and start tearing everything apart and see where we're at. Okay, so we're ready to pull off the flywheel. You will need a special tool, flywheel puller. This one is from Rocky Mountain. Just got it on there. I believe it's a Motion Pro. So, and it is reverse thread. So you want to make sure you screw it in the right way so you don't strip the flywheel and have to purchase a new one because they are not cheap. So all you do, screw it in there. We'll get it tight here in a second, and then screw this down, and it will basically push on the crankshaft and pull the flywheel out backwards. Here we go. So sometimes these coils or your stator will be, the screws in them will be pretty in there, and they're very easy to strip out. So as you can tell, these are here. They will strip out pretty easily. Sometimes they're tight. So you can use a impact. This is a hammer impact. Basically just screw it in here, put it in here like hit it with a hammer, and it'll give it a quick jar and turn at the same time, and most times it does break them free. Okay, so it's time to split the cases. You will need a few special tools for this, so let me show you. Right here. So these will help you split the cases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, there's a splitter. What I'm going to do is pull all the case bolts, and then we'll start splitting these cases. And sometimes you will probably need a mallet, hang it back and forth. You never want to hit on the crank because it could damage the case. I mean, we're getting rid of this crank anyway, so if it damages the crank, that really wouldn't matter, but you do not want to damage the cases. So you just don't want to hit the crank. You will have to sometimes tap on the corners just to get it to split, because these are held on. Yamaha uses silicone to hold their cases together from leaking instead of gaskets, so sometimes they do stick pretty good. So we're going to do that now. Okay, so I was able to get the case split. Wasn't that bad. Had a lot of excess silicone and stuff to pull apart, but for the most part it wasn't that bad. Let me show you inside. The crank bearings are they're something else. So the cases don't look too bad. Someone used an extra amount of silicone, but look at this crank bearing. See how rusty it is? I can barely turn that. It just grind. You can kind of hear it. Just grinding. So that's definitely shot. But yeah, this is all get new bearings. Try getting those pounded out today. Here's the transmission, shift forks, shift drum. I like, there's nothing on the backside here, so I like putting a zip tie in here just to make sure nothing goes anywhere. Keep it all in order. So other than that, we'll I want to try getting this cleaned up and getting these bearings pulled out. Okay, so I just removed one bearing. As you can tell, it wasn't a blindside bearing. That's a blindside bearing. Same kind of process. Just removed this shift drum bearing right here. And it was a flush bearing, so still you couldn't really pound it with the socket or anything behind it. So what you want to do is, still kept it on there to show you guys. You can see the forks. Grabbed it. You're going to take this whole contraption. Bearing will be in here. Heat in this sense, heat is your best friend. It makes everything simple. Swells the metal out a little bit, opens everything up, frees everything up, and you can pop it on out. So it'll be in here, and what you're going to do, you're going to drop this in here. You have an insert. You'll screw that insert in. It's going to fork out and expand, create pressure. It's going to grab it with these little teeth. And when it's in there, you're just going to, with your slide hammer, and it will just work the bearing out. So any blindside bearings, you're definitely going to need this tool. A lot of times you won't need it, with open-end bearings on the backside, so you can just take a socket that matches up to it, hit it, and put some heat on it, hit it, and it usually flows right out. So that's generally how you get your bearings. Okay, now that we got the two blindside bearings pulled, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you just kind of how to pull the rest of the bearings just with the socket on the back side. So what I'm going to do, I have a socket here that fits really well, and then we'll hit it from here. But first I'm going to go apply some heat to it, and I'll bring it back to the table after I apply some heat to it, and we will give her a couple whacks, and she should theoretically come out. Sometimes it does take quite a bit of knocking, but we'll see what we can do. And there she is. So you don't have to, it's usually not that bad. So, and that wasn't that bad. Like I said, just add some heat to it, get everything expanded, and she'll come out. So what I'm going to do, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 more of these I have to do. So I'm going to knock these out real fast, and we'll show you what everything looks like on the table. Okay, YouTube. Here she is. Motor all torn down. Cases, clutch, jug, tranny, and all the bits and pieces. Label everything once again just to make sure I have everything identified. Also what I do, you can kind of see zip ties to the bag. I'll kind of show you here. So I take a zip tie. This one needed 2 together, and the way everything comes out is the way I put it on the zip tie, just for, you know, mindset, making sure I know everything's there in what order it does go back on, just to be safe. There she is. You can see this bike's actually been torn down before. A lot of silicone in here. This is not common from the factory to put this much. I mean, there was some just coated in the cylinders too. And it don't even look like it's Yamabond. It's too, Yamabond's real rubbery. This is too flaky. So it's been gone through before. Showed other evidence of that as well. So we will get it up and running. So that's going to be it for today. The plan for the next video is to get the outards of the case put back together. Not going to put anything innards into it. At least get it together so I can get it into the sandblaster. Try keeping as much sand and material out of it as I can. And then we're going to get that Cerakoted. I want to get the bottom Cerakoted, and that'll be a separate video on its own. So the frame is currently off the powder coating. Hopefully it should be back in a few days. They said probably middle of next week they'll give me a call. Probably go pick that up hopefully. So right now that's where we're at. So if you like the videos and you want to continue to see this build, it's going to be an epic build. So if you want to see this build and the way this bike turns out, please subscribe, stay tuned, and we'll see you soon. Ride on.